Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Men You Love To podcast. I am Kat, your host, and today my guest is a very, very special guest. His name is Timothy Brantley, and he is from Waterbury, Connecticut. He is a husband, a father, a brother, an uncle, an author, a chancellor, a counselor, a chaplain, and a comedian. And that doesn't even begin to describe how amazing this man is. So, welcome.
Thank you, Kat, for having me. I'm honored to be on your platform. Just the name, just the title of your podcast is very powerful because men do need love. Because men have a lot of issues inside of them. But a little more about me. By God's grace, married to a beautiful woman who got me at my lowest state. I had a divorce some years ago, and she brought me back to life. She gave me mouth-to-mouth recitation. That was a joke, but she brought me back. She brought me back to life because I had a lot of trauma that I never realized. With my PhDs and master's degrees and writing over 30 books, I still had trauma on the inside, and so it was finally some maybe a decade or decade and a half ago, I really started to deal with it because when you don't deal with the trauma deals with you. I was brought up in a black family. Wow, and back then it was very difficult because beatings were quite common, and also I had also sexual abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse. So I had it all together, and because I didn't deal with it, it dealt with me. A lot of anger, a lot of self-loathing at the same time because as a kid, when I self-loathed, I got a lot of attention. So I brought that negative asset into my adulthood. But again, by God's grace and good counseling, now I'm able to deal with it because trauma never leaves you. You just have to learn to deal with it because it's there. I mean, you can't erase your brain and say, "Oh, it didn't happen." No, it happened. And for a lot of men, men do not come to grips with the pain that the trauma has caused. Women are better in talking about it, and men hear me loud and clear. Most men who are, for lack of a better word, out there with a lot of women, usually trying to cover up the pain of their same-sex abuse that they had with somebody else. So let's go, Kat. I'm honored to be
Yeah.
here with you.
Well, you just dropped the big bomb. We
I'm sorry, just
No,
like
no,
it
no,
is.
no. Listen, I knew this is going to be such an important conversation that I've been really, really waiting. I've been waiting a long time to have this conversation, and I'm so happy that I'm having it with you because I
Thank you.
think it will be one of the most important conversations I ever have
Thank you. I'm
around,
honored.
no, honestly. And so when you said that, I've seen the same thing, and this is something we actually talked about. The guys that are out there that are cheating, that are the fuck boys, that are out there just body after body after body, from my experience, are the ones that have never admitted to being sexually abused or assaulted as a child, and they are constantly trying to prove their manhood over and over and over, and they're hurting and they never get the help because they get the judgment from the women and they get the envy from the men from being that guy that has body after body after body. And so when do they heal?
Yeah, the problem is that they don't recognize is by doing that, by having this large body count like Will Chamberlain, um, you're only resuscitating the pain. You are resuscitating what you've gone through. And so for men, oh, I had sex at 5 years old with another girl, or I had sex at 5 years old with another guy. So let's explain the difference. So with a girl, wow, I had sex at an early age, or she was older. So they use it as a badge of honor. Really, it's a badge of sexual abuse because your prefrontal lobe is not fully developed. You don't know what's going on. You're having an orgasm. You don't know where it's coming from, and this woman is manipulating you, especially if she's older. When you have same sex with a little boy, which would happen with me, you still don't know what's going on. Why am I doing this? Why am I having this sexual act with this person? And so now you're trying to cover up the embarrassment because When my parents found out, I got a nice beating. So not only was I sexually abused that day, okay, I was physically abused that day. So it was a double whammy that I had to deal with. And so, again, for a lot of guys, they don't understand early sex is not a badge of honor at all. It's still sexual abuse.
Right. You said a lot of things that we have to unpack here.
Let's go.
And the first one being, if we can talk about that day for you. Um, there was the abuse that happened, which was traumatic, and it will leave an
Yes,
imprint in your nervous system for the rest of your life.
exactly.
Going home and looking for safety, looking for empathy, looking for love, looking for compassion, and you were beaten again.
Correct.
And that deepened the wound. It
Correct.
was betrayal. It
Hmm.
was then a lack of safety because you went to the people that were supposed to protect you.
Right.
And that reaction is just, in my opinion, as traumatic, if not even more than the actual assault itself.
Right.
When you talk
Because here
about
I
that.
am going to a place of safety. In actuality, I went to a place of punishment. I mean, I was a child, didn't know what I was doing. I just heard the guy told me to do this. I just did it. I was just going along because I did not know. I had no clue. And then parents finding out and then getting beaten, it was like, wow, the shame. So that's why a lot of guys, Cat, don't share it because those especially that got caught, they are whammied or they are trained. Don't tell nobody. All right. So that shame is there. So the shame covers, and as you know, anything you cover suffocates. Suffocation is a sign of death. So here these men are trying to, oh yeah, I got this girl, I got that girl. You're really suffocating, my friend, and you're not really being honest with yourself and also with the person that you're with as well.
Right. And that moment where you go and look for safety and you're shamed and you're beaten, that
Correct.
causes so much more trauma. And you end up feeling like you're the dirty one and it's your fault and you did something wrong and you deserved it.
Correct.
And
Correct.
that is something that you carry for the rest of your life until
Mm-hmm.
you speak
Yeah.
about it and you share that because you're going
Yeah.
to feel like it's always your fault.
Yeah. Until the reconciliation happens, I mean, for example, when I told my first wife and my second wife, my first wife was like, yeah, my second wife really helped me. Like, you know what? It happened because a lot of times you want to keep pushing it in the back, but it's really an echo. And until you reconcile, men, hear me. Until you reconcile it, it's going to drive you. So here is watch this. Here is a traumatic. What this is a traumatic event that's driving you. That's like having a blind person driving you. I got nothing against blind people, so don't write me a letter, all right? But it's like you're blind, but you're blinded by the trauma that you're happened to you. So for the woman who've been sexually abused, for them it's the same thing. Wait, I had an orgasm, but I was raped. I had an orgasm, but I mean, so again, the brain is just going crazy with what's going on with what happened to you as a child. And again, when you are not healed as a child, you easily bring that into your adulthood. Easily.
Tim, like you dropped another bomb. Because
Sorry for dropping bombs.
yeah, like this is the so appreciate you because I didn't even know if I wanted to talk about this. Because a lot of the times a boy or a man's reaction to pleasure or to contact is to have an erection and then people think that that means consent. People think that that means he wanted it and
Yeah.
it's your body's betrayal. And I know for a fact that when women have had orgasms during a rape, it was their body betraying them and it in no way signifies consent or pleasure or anything like that, but it happens to both people where your body can react in a certain way, and it does not mean that this
Mm-mm.
was not an assault, and it
Mm-mm.
does not take get people off the hook.
Which is why people who have been assaulted feel guilty. I caused this because my body responded.
I must have
No,
wanted it.
I must have wanted it. Absolutely not. You know, and as your body, I mean, Kat, as you said, your body like does something like, wait a minute. And now that you're an adult, wow, okay, I had pleasure when I orgasm, so I must have enjoyed it as a child. No,
No.
ma'am. No, sir. It's two different narratives, and but again, that shame and what your body did when it happened. God forbid if it happened multiple times and your body does it multiple times, it's like this must be fine. Absolutely not. It was not fine.
Thank you for saying that because anyone, any man or any woman that's ever been sexually assaulted needed to hear that. Um,
Welcome.
that it was your body's betraying you and it was in no way a sign of consent or
No,
pleasure.
no.
That's huge.
Yeah, it
Um,
is huge.
it is.
Yeah.
Can we unpack how abuse by a woman for a boy,
Hmm.
by a woman, what that looks like, how society reacts?
Sure, sure.
I follow this man and I just pulled it up on my phone. His name is Boris Lang, and he wrote Angel Blue, A Song of Redemption. And
Okay.
he has a huge following online. And he talks about being 12 years old and being raped by his stepmother for years. And the average age that a man admits that he was sexually abused as a child is 52, right? So we're talking 40 years plus of holding in a secret like that.
Holding in.
Holding
That's
in,
deep.
not eat,
That's
like the
deep.
first time they speak it is
Right.
age 52 on average, which
Correct.
sometimes they go a lifetime and they don't speak it. So
Correct.
this is just what we know with like very limited research.
Hmm.
And when this man talks about the abuse at the hands of his stepmother or foster parent, foster mom, when he was 12 years old, 12 to 14 or 15, the men in the comments, right? So I find that in that instance, the women are more understanding.
Sure.
And I find that a lot of the men ask questions like, well, was she hot? What did you do?
Typical guy.
Right.
Typical
Like,
guy.
what was the act? And
Right.
I want men to hear the trauma that happens when a boy is assaulted by an older woman.
Hmm.
And when we react like this, we all, like anyone that says things like that, is re-traumatizing that boy
That is
and
correct.
making him feel like he deserved it and it was his fault. So
That's
we need
correct.
to all do better and we need
Yeah.
to be aware of that.
You know, uh, the best way to help men see this is that, sir, imagine an older woman having sex with your 12-year-old boy. You're not going to say, "Great job, son." You're going to go after that teacher, or after that neighbor, or whoever it may be, because that child was sexually abused. Why? Because the power factor. I mean, here's a child, so I got to follow the directions of an adult. That's what we're taught in our society. No matter what it is, I got to follow. That's how pedophiles do so negatively great, because the child is taught to follow directions of an adult. So here you are, a child following directions of an adult. In this case, it was a stepmom or a guardian, and you're following directions. All right, so you're just doing what they tell you to do because you were taught if you don't follow directions, then you're a bad person. So then here's another quagmire. So if I don't follow, I'm a bad person, but because I followed, I feel bad. So, so the narrative is that, listen, I did something with somebody that was bad toward me and was traumatized, and also, not to get to another level, the person who traumatized you was probably traumatized himself, mostly.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're repeating the pattern. That's, yeah, that's another show. Tim. Yeah. No, but that's 100%.
Yeah, yeah. So, so, sir, really, and the reason why it takes them for 52 years to find out, because they're trying to find everything else. And what is it? What is it? What is it? Oh, okay. Let me go back to my childhood. That's why, as a counselor, I take people back to their childhood. What happened to you as a child? What went on? Because until, again, men hear me. until you deal with the little child in you at you in your adulthood. Works every single time. It's like the pebble in the shoe, right? I'm walking, but there's a pebble in my shoe, and until I take the pebble out, it's gonna keep bothering me.
And, it could be a teacher, but unfortunately, I have some clients. I think I told you this on my call. Why I wanted to do this episode was because I carry the weight of being the first person and the only person that a lot of men have told that they were sexually abused as a child. And
Wow.
and it's something I feel in their body, in their energy. It's something that comes up. It's a question I ask, and I've seen the tears and the shame, and they cover their face because they can't look at me, and they feel like they're all of a sudden less than, because they admit this to me, like they're less of a man, whether it was a man
Right.
or a woman. And so I have a few clients that were sexually abused by a woman, and even in the relationship in their marriage where she was like threatening to take kids away, or there would be consequences if they didn't perform sexually. So that's number one, they're traumatized. Um, a lot of men that were traumatized by a man, and we'll talk about that, but there is a significant amount that were traumatized by older women,
Correct.
and it was age, 10 to 13, 14, that, age where you're hitting puberty. So that's why
Correct.
like their body's responding in a way and they feel so much
Of course it
shame.
is. They're full of
And
testosterone. Is going to launch. Exactly.
right. And the woman, this is the thing though, that the woman knows that. The woman is taking advantage of that. She fully knows that there is a part of him that doesn't understand what's happening because he's so young and he's curious and his body is responding, but it does not change the fact that this is an assault, a sexual assault. But the
I
number
don't
of
have
men
any.
that, sorry,
Yeah, I don't have any numbers, but I mean, most people think a pedophile is a male.
yeah,
Uh,
it's not.
no,
It's
it's
not.
not all male. That's a
And if
lie.
we're
Yeah.
paying attention to what's happening and how many women are involved, that's my whole fucking beef. And so, do you know how many men I know that were raped by their mother or their aunt? It's disgusting. And this man that I had for a year, like he texts me almost every day. Like he was in his 20s now. He'd moved away from home, and his mom and his aunt made him have sex with both of them and then made him watch them have sex with other men. And this went on for years. And he's now doing
Trauma.
like regular things at work or whatever. He was like an Uber driver. And he would have a flashback of seeing his body, like his mom's body, or like having a flashback of something that happened. And this
Hmm.
man wanted to take his own life every day that I knew him because the images just would not stop. Every time he tried to move
Wouldn't
on, it
stop.
was
Yeah.
like, this is what you've done. This is where you were.
Right.
And he could not, it's so
Yeah.
traumatizing. And people think it doesn't happen, but
So
guess what? It does.
so let's add a layer to this. Most people pedophile male. You mean so when we give off that image that only pedophiles are male, then what about that guy who felt, wait a minute, something happened to me? How come no one talking about that? So it
Right.
must be all right.
Right.
You
Because
see how
it's
that
nothing to
goes?
do with the
You see how
woman.
that
I should
goes?
be happy. Yeah. I should just be happy how much someone had sex with me. It doesn't matter if I was
That's correct. That's correct.
exactly.
That's correct. So our society has to understand that any underage sex by whomever is traumatizing. Again, for the woman to the little boy, it's like, hey, man, you must have a great future ahead of you. Your phallus must be, 10 inches long and, a girth, all that stuff we talk about. And
Yeah.
like you said, the guys are asking, oh, what did you do with her?
Yeah.
Versus, man, that was bad. And I guarantee you, those same men who asked what you did with the old woman, they were probably sexual abused themselves. But of course, everything's covered up. And again, I tell people all the time in counseling, the longer you wear the mask, the longer you are open to being suffocated by the mask. And that's why the suicide rate for men, as you know, women attempt suicide more, but men commit suicide more because of the trauma that they hold in. Again, 52 years. I mean, think about it. I'm holding on this trauma. All this I'm holding on like I'm the responsible one. No, sir. You were not the responsible one. You were sexually abused.
Right. So much stigma around this, so much silence, so many misconceptions that further re-traumatize what are victims of sexual assault or sexual abuse, and they're men. And because they're wearing a mask and they're not admitting it to themselves and they're not saying the words out loud to anyone else, they don't have intimate relationships because they hold back because they're like, if this person knew the real me, they wouldn't love me. They would think less of me. So then the intimacy, the safety in relationships, they have wives, they have three wives, and none of them even know because they're afraid to let someone get close to their heart. They're afraid to deal with it. They're afraid to open up about it. And no shit, I get why. Because the world's going to come back at you with
Yeah,
their bullshit and their
right.
misunderstandings.
What's wrong with you? Yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
You should be
yeah.
happy that
What's
as a
wrong with
young
you?
boy, an
Yeah,
older woman found you attractive and wanted to have
exactly,
sex with you.
exactly,
So like
exactly.
these men,
What's wrong with you? No,
it's
go
just
ahead.
like a lifetime of struggling and disconnect because they're not even able to have authentic, deep relationships because at the core, they're denying a huge part of their past that has a huge impact on everything.
All right, so let me unpack what you said. That's very powerful. Trust. How can they trust this trauma event with somebody when someone who they trusted took away their trust?
Thank you.
So again, that prefrontal lobe is people. It's everything. That the early stages that you had as a child affects your adulthood. Scripture says, "When I was a child, I speak as a child, but when I became a man, I put away childish ways." But understanding that between 0 and 13, you are a sponge. You are soaking in your childhood and you're soaking in, and then at 13, you start to wring out what you've learned. And so for a lot of men that okay, this was an event, I had an orgasm, I felt good, also felt weird at the same time. So they never look at, oh, that's a problem. Yeah, it is a problem, right? But in their heads, it wasn't a problem. It was a great event, da 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 da. But in actuality, no, sir, it was a major hit to you that affects you even to this day.
Let's talk about the different side, the different type of shame when the assault was by a man, because that brings a
Yeah,
whole different
yeah.
type of shame and feelings and um again and a whole different thing of silence for men
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because now their
It it
masculinity,
it uh, it
sexuality is being questioned,
masculinity.
what they think of
Uh,
themselves.
yeah, it affects everything. So because I had sex with another person, am I gay? Am I too effeminate? Do I share too much? So all these things are going on in this guy's head, and this may be controversial, but that's what I do. Many people who have dealing with their sexuality, many of them had it because of what happened to them as a child. They will not admit that, but it's a discourse. Something happened. Someone came into your childhood, your innocence. You're innocent. You don't know anything, and because of what happened to you, you may go to another direction. And again, it's finding out why am I here and have I dealt with the trauma. And many men have not dealt with. Wait a minute, I did a sexual act on another guy. The guy was older. Uh, the guy was the pastor. The guy was the priest. The guy was the older brother. I mean, again now with men. Now let's go deep. Men by themselves represent authority, right? I'm a man. I'm authority. So here I am submitting myself as a child to an authoritative figure. You know how deeper that is? That's why I'm not trying to compare the pain of sexual abuse, but when you've been sexually abused by another guy, the pain's much deeper,
It
in
is.
my opinion. because now I'm going against someone that looks like me, talks like me, but he took advantage of me. That's even worse.
No, I totally agree with you. The abuse from a woman is glorified in our society, but the act with a man is so much more shameful because it's like, well, you're a man and you didn't protect yourself. You couldn't defend yourself against another man. How come another man took advantage of you?
Right.
And does this make you gay?
Correct.
Right? Exactly. All those questions.
Mhm.
And again, you touched on something that I wasn't sure I wanted to tackle, but I have a
I'm so
lot of,
sorry, Kat.
no, no,
I'll do
listen,
better next time.
I love that we're everything's coming out in the open because I feel like we can't do this conversation justice by still hiding certain things. And one of the things is that I have a lot of DMs when I've posted about sexual abuse from men that have told me, quote unquote, I am married, but I secretly sleep with men because I was raped as a boy. And so now, one of the ways in which I deal with this is to engage in sexual contact with men, whether you're fully gay or you're closeted gay or you're having these dangerous um, um,
Encounters.
encounters. Thank you for finding that word.
I got you.
But there's been so many studies done about kinks and the BDSM world, where people that have experienced sexual abuse tend to have specific kinks or specific things where they work out the power dynamic of the sexual abuse and they get to reenact it on their terms and with consent. And
Right.
so our sexuality is a way for us to process a lot of our trauma, and people are promiscuous after being sexually abused. People completely are asexual after being sexually abused. And then people develop certain kinks where they get to reenact certain acts to help them deal and process the trauma. And all of those ways are all part of dealing with it in our sexual being, like sexuality, and we never know which way it's going to be.
Yeah, the so I say to men, it's like a proverbial pool table. All right, so you have the white ball, you have the stick, and you hit the ball, and the ball scatter. All right, and so that's what happens with sexual abuse. There's a scattering of the brain. All right, there's a scattering, and so as a pastor, I can tell you so many stories of men sexually abused by the musician, sexually abused by the youth pastor, sexually abused by the pastor, sexually abused by the first lady. I mean, it goes on. And for the church, a lot of people think, oh, that only happens in the Catholic Church. Oh, it does not. It happens in any authoritative place in worship or outside of worship where you're taking advantage. I'm sorry, that's manipulation. You are manipulating a child to be something that was not of their purpose. How many boys has sat on uncle's laps and were fondled and never will tell anybody? How many boys were sat on auntie laps and were fondled, never tell anybody? Why? Because they're bringing it in. And so for you to say, man, that here's a married man who's having sex with his wife, or even not having sex with his wife, and having sex with other men, he's trying to deal with the trauma as a child because it happened as a child. So it happens as a child, as well as an adult. Oh, this must be fine. This must be okay. No, you were sexually abused. Let's start there. Let's heal there, and let's move on accordingly.
Right. I'm just trying to go back in time and remember what you said. You brought up the male suicide rates, and I am such a huge believer that sexual abuse and sexual assaults are at the top of unspoken, hidden reasons and secrets
Preach, cat.
that men take their lives. I think it's right at the top of that fucking list. Um, and we are all, men and women, and our society is responsible for not
Mhm.
making it safe for men to come out and talk about their abuse. All of us own that. There's shit in movies, in the media. We normalize it.
Yeah,
We're immune to it. We make jokes about it. We're
yeah,
desensitized. When men
yeah.
tell us women don't react in the best way sometimes, they can
Right,
further make that shame worse for a man.
right.
And then men also shame other men.
They do. They
Like
do.
we all need
So
to do better, and we understand that these are children. This happened to children, not the man that's in front of you. This happened to a little boy, and we need to fucking understand that.
Yeah, yeah. As a comedian, there's certain jokes I don't do. You know, I don't. I'm a clean, mature comedian.
Yes.
I do clean comedy. I talk about sex, but it's very clean how I talk about it. But jokes I don't do are boys who were sexually abused by older women. I mean, that's a common joke people do. Oh wow, I wish my teacher was that. There's a child.
Right.
Wait, it's a child. All right. Uh, Again, the prefrontal lobe, I think for a woman, is probably done by 22. For a man, it's 26. That's why we're slower. Just deal with it, man. And so here
You're a
we
doctor.
are.
I'm not going to argue with you.
So here we are as men taking in all this data that, all right, this happened to me. Taking all this data. Okay, I got beat for it. Or even worse, it never
Yeah.
happened. It's not true. I know the pastor. I know the priest. I know your teacher. My my brother would never do that. My sister would never do that. All right. So the denial brings on another level of pain. Wait, mom, I told you what happened. That never happened. And watch this. And don't you ever mention it again. That phrase right there will be categorized in that man's head. And all right, never say it again. Here I am, 50
And
years
he will
old.
die before he ever says it again.
Correct. Correct.
This is the most I've ever been mad on a podcast.
I'm sorry, Kat.
But no, but listen, I feel like we need to be mad.
Yeah.
I feel like we need to get angry.
Yeah.
Um, as a mother that raised two girls and a boy that are all over the age of 18,
God bless
and
you.
I have avoided them experiencing what I experienced as a child. So to me, that's like mission accomplished. Um, and I'll tell you that I know so many men in my circle that have been through this and so many clients.
Mhm.
I feel like I have like a different view of this, or like I have this insight that most people don't. And so it makes me very passionate about it. But what I wanted to say is having like two girls in the workforce, very aware of like who's around them, what person is in a position of power, coaches, like leaders, right? Like someone that's an adult that could manipulate them. But I've been the same way with my son. In fact, I hear stories about workplaces for boys, and I hear about the inappropriate behavior of older women, and I hear the way the boys talk about it. But what I love is that my boy, like my son and his friends, will call those women predators. They know because like I've been
Great.
talking about this since they were little, and they know that women and men
Great.
can be predators. And so I see
Uh,
a lot
yeah.
of hope and hopefully more awareness in the next generation to know that men don't deserve to be treated like that. Boys don't deserve
So
to be sexualized.
so so Richard Pryor, definitely one of the Mount Rushmores of great comedians. A lot of people don't know his history from Illinois. I mean, his father, mother were in the sex trade, sexually abused, if I remember correctly. But even if he wasn't, he was around a lot of intimacy at a young age.
Yeah,
And so that's why he was so self sabotaging. I mean, think about it. Look how smart this guy was to do his comedy. But yet, the self sabotaging spirit was in him. And, we all know what happened with the,
right.
the cocaine and running, like a like a black candle because of the cocaine and freebasing. But if anything, sir, please hear this loud and clear. And ma'am, maybe we need to write a book together. Maybe I don't know, but sir, please hear me loud and clear. It's time to heal. The Bible said, "What's in the dark must come to the light." And the problem is, you've been keeping it in the dark, right? And as long as you keep it in the dark, it will grow. You must bring it to the light. Okay, once you bring it to the light, your healing can start, and it starts with just realizing I was sexually abused. I cannot tell you how many people come to my office, and it takes a while, that they come to, I was sexually abused. Yeah. You've been carrying something. I mean, think about it. So here's a 10-year-old child, 10-year-old man, taking on the sexual abuse of a 200-pound man. Think about that mentally. All right. So here's a 50, 75 weight young man taking on, are you guys getting what I'm trying to say? Taking on a 200, 250-pound man issues. That's abuse because there's no way a 75 pound young boy can lift up a 250 man. And that's what's happening. You've been carrying the weight of a man who has sexually abused himself, and now he put that on you. And you wonder why a lot of men deal with depression because you're being depressed because you're carrying the weight of a grown man. Does that make sense a little bit?
It does. And I love that you're talking to the man as if he was sitting there.
Correct.
And I would say if that happened to you, it wasn't your fault if you didn't
No,
say no.
no.
It wasn't your fault if you didn't fight back. It wasn't your fault if you didn't run away. It wasn't your
Correct.
fault if you participated. It wasn't your fault if your body betrayed you. It wasn't your fault that you were there and that you came back and it happened again. It was on the person, on the adult, to know what was being done to you, and it is not your fault, and you did nothing wrong. And you are a victim. And they should have
Correct.
known better, and they should have protected you and your innocence. And nothing that you did, nothing that you wore, nothing that you said made you
Condoned it.
deserve that.
That's correct.
None of
That's correct.
it.
Sir, remember that first time, and you came back home crying. You came back home disheveled. Uh, your clothes were different. Your hair was all jacked up,
Your face looked
and the
sad.
obsessive crying. Yeah, exactly. Your parents should have said, "What's going on?" They didn't. And then for parents who did ask, the majority of them did not, let's go to counseling. The majority did not say, let's call the cops. That didn't happen. The majority of, it didn't happen, shut up, we don't talk about stuff like that. And think about this, sir. Here you are, a child. Sir, listen. Here you are, a child dealing with grown people stuff. It's like you trying to drive a car at 10 years old. You understand that? True story. I think I was 12 years old, and I was trying to drive my mother's car. And thank God my neighbor saw me and came in the car and helped me. I might not be here today, but here I am trying to drive. Men, get this. I'm trying to drive a car at 10 years old. I didn't know nothing.
Mhm.
I didn't know anything, but thank God someone came to rescue me. Sir, you've been trying to drive a car at 10 years old. That sexual abuse was the sexual abuse was
Yeah.
that was a grown act thing done with a child.
Yeah.
You don't have a clue what's going on.
Yeah.
So as Kat said correctly, sir, you are a victim, and the person that did it to you was a predator.
And can we just talk about the other layer of family, if it's a family member, of the
Yeah,
fear,
yeah,
if it's a brother, which I
yeah.
know people that have been molested by their brother or their friend or their cousin, their
Let's talk
uncle.
about it, Kat. Let's talk about it.
They're most of the and same for the women that abuse.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
times
yeah.
it's someone that the family trusts. So not only do they make you feel like it's your fucking fault, but then they're in a position of power. They're in a position of authority. They have other people's trust. How do you go up against that? And no wonder men are going towards suicide. And I think so many men that are addicted, that are addicts, are have a long history of sexual abuse as a child because they learned that they couldn't speak up. They had to numb that pain somehow, and they turned to drugs. And like that's at the top of the
Kat,
reasons.
Kat, you were hitting it because how many men are triggered when they went to their uncle's funeral? How many men were triggered when they went to their aunt's funeral? Right? And watch this. Everybody is giving flowers and applause toward this man.
How
Everyone's
great
giving
this husband
flowers
was.
and applause toward this aunt. And you're the only person that's silent because you know what they did to you. You see how that plays in your mind? Wait, everybody's celebrating uncle. Everybody's celebrating aunt. Everyone's celebrating dad. Everyone's celebrating
Praising
mom.
them like they're now like a saint because they're dead and they're
That is
so good.
absolute. That is absolutely
Exactly.
correct. And how many times did no apology, no, you know what? I was abused. I was wrong. None of that. But so that's another level of pain because everyone is joyous, but I'm the only person that's hurting right now. I'm the only person that the body that's going in the ground or the body's being cremated did something to me. And you guys are applauding them when in actuality you shouldn't be applauding them at all. Uh, I forgot the name. There was a well known comedian in London. I ain't got time to look it up, but he was a well known comedian in London. May I look up while you're talking? And it show. And he was so popular, even the Prince Charles called him in to talk with him. When he died, it was revealed how many kids, male and female, that he had sexually abused.
Wow.
It happens. So if anything, sir, you're hearing from Kat and from Doctor B. You're hearing it from a female and a male perspective, sir. It's time to heal, but healing cannot start until you recognize the pain. Until
Wow.
you recognize you are a victim. Until you recognize, okay, this is my sixth divorce.
Right.
This is my 20th affair. What is going on here? I love this woman. I cherish her. So why am I keep doing things that's hurting me and her? Because of the trauma that's never dealt with.
Thank you for saying that. Um, this is, you know what? It's all out on the table. Okay. Today, everything's out on the table. I wanted your opinion, on something else. I often believe that children who are groomed and picked by the abuser, the predator, are already traumatized children, and the people know that they are not supported and they will be silent and they are easy to manipulate. And there's
Right.
certain criteria that they all look for, men and women, as predators. And so it's hard to say, but like a lot of people blame just the act of abuse for all the pain. But I always want to go even before the abuse because chances are that you were already a vulnerable child that made you vulnerable to the abuser, and that's why they picked you. You were already silenced, you already were not supported, you were already isolated, and you were alone. And somehow they knew that. And that's very hard to face because people want to blame that one act and that abuser for everything. And it's hard to say, like, I was already not being treated and supported in the way that I should have been, because if I
Right.
was, I, chances are I would not have been a victim.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Yeah. I mean, the grooming process. I mean, it works. I hate to say it, but it works because you're taking the trust of a child. Again, children are taught to trust adults, and so the grooming, the for example, you know your son lies a lot. You know your son lies a lot.
He likes to tell
You know your
stories.
son lies a lot. Exactly. So when the son comes to mom and dad, they're remembering. Well, my brother did say you were a liar. So that's a part of the grooming process that they'll do. Or even worse, if you tell your mom and dad, that's going to hurt your mother and father. What child who loves their mother and father wants to hurt?
Right.
You see how that works?
Or your sibling, right? Like I'll hurt your sibling.
Exactly. So back to so the guy name was Jimmy, and he was a great guy in front of the public, but behind closed doors, abused many people. So again, that's why, sir, please tell me loud and clear, you're healing. All right, it's time for you to find a good counselor, a good therapist to start your healing. But again, you have to admit it was sexual abuse. You have to admit, because if you don't admit it,
There's no way
no type of
around
counselor
it.
is going to work.
You gotta say it like that. That's what it was. You have to
That's
call it
correct.
what it was.
That's correct. That's correct. That's right. If you
Right.
don't call it, then it's going to stay in that category. Because, all right, so men, hear me, man. We departmentalize everything. You know, we put it on the box, we put it on the box, put it on the box. But you got to take that sexual abuse and put it in the right box. See, you got it in the wrong box. Either, wow, this hot woman or this ugly woman had sex with me, so I must be great. Put that in the right box. Sexual abuse. Uh, uh, this other guy sexually abused me. Put that in the right, not the box of shame or box of I should have known better. That's another thing men do. I should have known better. You didn't though. You didn't know better. That your brother, the uncle, the teacher, the scouts leader, the pastor, the musician, they were stronger than you. So on top of that, here you are being forced. And think about it, Kat. Think about that. A little boy may be a little stronger than a little girl. So think about this sexual abuse of I'm forcing you to accept this. I'm enforcing you to do this sexual act to me, and you being forced. So that adds another layer. There's a physical force to control you to do what I want you to do.
Right.
Yeah. We got deep today, didn't we?
We honestly like fuck. We went deep. Excuse my language, but wow. Um,
I warned you.
no, like I know, but this is what needs to be said.
Yeah,
And if we're gonna even begin to tackle this problem, then this is how we need to talk about it. It needs to be all out in the open.
that's correct.
Um, I don't even bring up stats because stats have no representation in how big the problem is because like 80% of men will not even admit it to themselves, never mind anyone else, they will take it to their grave. So I don't even look at stats. It's crazy. I
Correct.
think the problem is as big as 50% of men have been
I
sexually
I would not
assaulted or
fight you on
abused
that one.
by a
I would
man
not
or a
fight you.
woman.
I would not fight you because most men who see me for marriage counseling are traumatized and they're only repeating the trauma.
Right.
They're only repeating what they saw.
Right.
They're only repeating what they experienced. So Kat, I'm with you on 50%. I'm
Thank
with you,
you.
girl.
And
I'm
I
with you.
hear and I think this is the part where we talk about when a child is being abused, there's two paths. One, they self-destruct. Two, they repeat the pattern. So the men that are continuing the patterns and passing it on to the next generations, they are victims in the first place when they were young. So until we start dealing with victims, we cannot stop this from happening to other children. It
That's
is the
correct.
only way.
That is again that predator 9 times out of 10. I won't say 10 out of 10, but 9 times out of 10 will sexually abuse themselves. It
Right.
happened to them. They they did not get the healing of it. They accepted it as normal. So they
Yeah.
accepted it as normal. So you know what? This must be normal. I got to
This
do
is
this to
the
somebody
power
else.
dynamic. This is how things work. This is what I'm supposed to do.
That's correct. Absolutely. So again, these men need to understand. No, what I did, what happened to me was wrong, and me too. All right, man. So I'm coming after you. So what you did was wrong. All right, what happened to you was wrong, but now here you doing it again to another child, even worse. That's why in the prison system, pedophiles are at the top of the list of people that people do not like in prison, incarcerated. But again, the problem is they only look at it from a male perspective and not the female
Right.
perspective as well. The
Right.
females, Kat, don't get mad when I say this. So it is true, women cheat better than men. That is a true statement. It is a true statement. And so if they cheat better than men, and they do,
A
then they can
hundred
hide
percent.
the pain the same way with a little boy.
Yeah.
Or uh, uh, we haven't covered this, but how about the older woman sexually abusing a little girl? Still sexual abuse.
Well, I think I counted it. I was sexually assaulted 12 times in my lifetime, and one of them was by a woman. And I was 11 years old, and she was in her late 20s.
So the problem, there's many issues with sexual abuse, but the big issue is that there's an energy that a abuser can feel on a child, and because they feel the energy, that child now becomes a victim to another person because they can feel the energy.
Right. Because now you're a traumatized child. This is what we were just talking about. And people know that you're silenced, you're not supported. A lot of the times you don't have a strong father figure in the home to protect you, and they know it's one of the things they look for. This is
Correct.
well documented by pedophiles.
Correct.
So they know that you're
Correct.
already traumatized. You already think you're worthless. You're showing behaviors of being a people pleaser and respecting adults and being very proper and,
Right.
well behaved. And they
Right.
know
You
that
want
they
to be
can do that
liked.
to you.
Yeah. 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 I mean, what child does? I mean, so what's the biggest issue with kids? Bullying.
Right.
Why bullying? Because I want to be liked. I want people to like me. So here comes this predator. Okay, this kid wants to be liked. God forbid this child does not have a good family structure. You just talked about that. So here comes this stranger or this aunt or uncle. Hey, you know what? Mom and dad don't like you. I got time for you. Come over to my house. And because mom and dad are not in the rightful mind of parenting, thank you.
Right.
You just gave me your child to sexual abuse.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Some warning flags to parents. Single mothers are the number one targets for pedophiles.
Talk about it.
Because they need assistance with their kids. People come in, they try to help, they try to be the knight in shining armor, and they're looking for the children. They're not looking for the woman.
And that's
Um,
why sexual abuse is so heavy in the church, because
yeah,
most members in church are women, and most of those women are single.
right,
So, hey, you know, the youth pastor wants to take me on a trip. Nope. Ha!
right,
The musician went there. Nope. Ha! No, because and again, the youth pastor, the first lady, whatever, they see you need help. So you know, have your child sleep over for a while. I know you're working a double shift. Have you see how this works? You see how this works?
I
You
see
see how this
it.
works?
Yeah,
So yes, single mom, to you, I know there's a lot on you, a
you're a
lot of
target.
pressure on you, but you gotta like vet like crazy before you give your child to anybody,
Right,
even the babysitter,
right,
even the high school teenager. Still
right,
gotta vet. I gotta know who
right.
you
Because
are.
children will repeat their behavior to younger children. That's also been proven. Um, if you have older siblings, be aware of them bringing their friends,
Right?
their their older friends to the house when you have little ones. To me,
Correct.
my kids had no sleepovers when they were little, if there were men in the house, unless I
Same
knew the
here.
woman like very, very well. I think they had sleepovers like 2 or 3 times. And I was
Right.
like, I don't care if you hate me by the time you turn 18, if you've never been
You
sexually
appreciate it.
abused, you can hate me for the rest of your life for not experiencing a sleepover with your friends. I'm like, I really
I'll
don't
take
care.
that hate.
Yeah,
I will
I'll
take
take
that
it.
hate badge like
I'll take
crazy.
it. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and and talk to your kids about men and women. Don't make one gender the safe gender and one gender the predator, because we know with human trafficking, 40 to 50% of the women, the people that are in it, are the women that are taking the children. So people wake up. Women are not on innocent when it comes to child exploitation, to
That's
being
correct.
predators, to raping children, to kidnapping children. Men and women are pretty much the same, 50-50 on this one. And so women and men are not safe just by gender.
I like what you said, ma'am. Wake up.
Yeah. And tell your kids it doesn't matter if it's your aunt, the
Doesn't.
pastor, the teacher, the coach, your uncle,
Doesn't.
grandma,
Doesn't.
your brother. It
Doesn't.
doesn't matter
Doesn't.
who. If they make you feel uncomfortable, come and tell me. I told my kids when they were
Doesn't.
little. I don't care if it's your dad,
Perfect.
your grandpa, your grandma, your aunt. I listed every single member so that they knew that there was no rules. There was no, oh,
Good.
accept this person.
Good.
That I would believe them
Nope.
over anyone else in the whole wide world. I needed them to know this. And so tell your children. Don't make anyone safe just because you're related to them or you know them. Tell your children, I will
Uh,
believe
this
you no matter what.
this is this is a very powerful podcast because it's setting men free. To hear this conversation, because again, most men hear the conversation about the female being abused.
Yeah.
They don't hear enough. And please, I'm not saying we need to stop talking about the female. I'm just saying we need to talk about both of them. That's all. And that's what we're doing. We're talking about primarily the male who is sexually abused either by the same sex or some of the opposite sex, female.
Right. But we just need to be better at protecting our children. And
Uh, yeah,
and we
yeah.
need to be better for men. So what's your message to a man that's listening to this and going, "Holy fuck, like where do I begin and who do I talk to because I don't have anyone and I'm scared shitless,
Yeah.
but I feel like maybe this is the thing I've been running away from that I'm ready to face." What do you have to say to him?
First, people, I like to thank God for Kat for calling me, for being brave enough to have me on her podcast. Thank you, Kat, for having me. Sir, if you really want to leave a legacy, okay, we're not talking about money, we're talking about wealth or reputation. How about this? Let's do a hashtag, a legacy of healing. Okay, let's start that hashtag, a legacy of healing. Because if you're not, listen to me, sir, if you're not healed, the that means the infection that's in you, for a good possibility, is going to be in your child. Okay, I tell couples, your children don't just look like you; they will act like you too as well. So let's start a legacy of healing. But the healing cannot start in your children; it must start in you. And yes, the tears may be flowing right now. The the feel. I gotta get drunk right now. I gotta get weed right now because we're telling you something that you probably put in the back of your brain, but guess what? It's there, right? And just like anything, don't put it this way. God forbid, if your doctor told you had cancer, I don't think not one person will say, you know what, let me keep the cancer in as my pet. You want it out. Okay, this is a mental cancer that needs to come out because as long as it stays there, it is malignant emotionally and it's killing you. And you need to finally say, you know what? It's time for me to heal. I know you 6, 7 figures. I know you're popular. I know you're known. Or maybe you at the bottom. The bottom line is until you deal with the little boy in you, the grown man cannot be at his full potential. So it's time for your healing today.
Thank you. And I'm going to use the hashtag legacy of healing. Is that what it
Legacy of
was?
healing.
Yes. Okay. I'm on it. Um, and I would say, even if you don't have anyone to admit to, the first person, just admit it to yourself and face it and say the words out loud and tell that boy that it wasn't his fault and that you know now that
That
it
is
wasn't his fault because he's been waiting a lifetime to hear it. And the thing is that it doesn't matter on your healing journey how many thousands of people tell you that it wasn't your fault. He only needs you to tell him. That's what he really wants to hear, is to hear you tell him that it wasn't his
correct.
fault. So
Correct.
give him
Correct.
that. Um, thank you
Kat, is a,
so
Kat is a
much.
pleasure. Hope you have me come back on again if you so dare.
I would love to thank you so much for tackling this with me, this topic. Thank you for being so vulnerable. Thank you for being so honest. Thank you for showing your heart. Um, and just, yeah, like I have so much respect for what you do. And I know you're out there changing lives, and I'm trying to do my part. And I'm just so blessed to have met you and to have had this really raw and needed conversation.
Thanks for having me. Those that want to contact me, my website is drtcbrantley.com. drtcbrantley, brantley.com as well.
Yep. And I will post all your bio and all your links, social media links in the comments.
Thank you. I
Okay.
appreciate it,
Thank you
Kat.
so much.
Uh, I feel in my spirit this is gonna go viral because it needs to be talked about more heavily, and to come from a male and female perspective, I think it makes it even easier.
I know. That's why I wanted this because I thought, yeah, the two of us tackling it would be really powerful. Thank you
Thank you
so
very
much.
much.
I
All
appreciate you.
right.
Goodbye.
Bye bye.